It's 2026, Week 18, playoff time. We're here to bring you previews of all the games that actually matter this week. Of all those games, there's only a few. So we're going to preview them. So let's get going. Hey boys, how are we going this evening?
Beautiful. We've got a lot on the line. So it's going to be exciting. A couple divisional titles. Can't wait to get into it.
Playoffs start early. How good. Let's go.
Let's go.
It is. It's a week.
Football.
It's an extra week of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, all four of us here and a special guest, Cody. How you going, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Here to help us preview some games tonight and talk all things Seahawks.
I am.
I want to go back to early season and see just how down you were about the Seahawks and see if it's sort of the juxtaposition between now and then.
Yeah, look, I didn't see this happening. I was hopeful, obviously, but also realistic about our situation. But a lot of players have stepped up and I think developed really fast.
Mm.
You know, faster than I thought. So, and it's gelled really well. Donald's got a lot of the offense, and our defense's second year in the system with Donald has really been solid each week. Cannot ask for any more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely a pleasant surprise. That is for sure.
You can ask for a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, that's right.
No, there's plenty more.
Hell yeah.
Look, one seed, Super Bowl.
I predicted something on our previous show, but I'm not going to say it yet until we get into that preview later on. But who would have thought Sam Darnold would be playing MVP caliber football 2 years in a row for two different teams?
Exactly right. And I think, the other thing is too is Clint Kubiak's system is definitely working, which was also the biggest worry at the start of the season. It's it's all sort of come together at the right time, which has been good, especially with our division, which is hard as hell to win.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's for sure. Absolutely, it is. Well, so we're going to have that game plus four others to preview tonight. These are all the games that really, really matter. They're the ones that matter for divisions, and the ones that just sort of will need to actually sort out all kinds of seeding. Just these 5 games will sort out the majority of the seeding issues in both conferences this week. So we're going to have a chat about those. And as we go through, obviously we'll be talking about week 1 of the playoffs, the wildcard round, and where those teams are going to match up as well. Just a bit of forecasting for that as well. So let's get down to 5 games to preview. We've got a lot to do tonight, and I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of opinions about some of them. Let's start off at the bottom. Panthers at Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers
The bottom.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game was supposed to be win and in. And technically it is, if you are the Carolina Panthers. All they have to do here is win this game. All they had to do was win last week, but they didn't manage to do that. All they have to do is win this game, and they are absolute in 100%. No nonsense. If the Bucs win, well, that's a whole different scenario. Isaac, the Panthers, a few weeks ago we thought that they were done, and now somehow Bryce Mahomes has brought them back from the brink.
Well, no one really wants to win this division, do they? Like, they have both had their chances, and they both stuff it up all the time. So I just can't see the Bucs getting up in this one. Like, they have had such an up and down season. Baker's playing injured. The Carolina Panthers defense is actually pretty good for what we didn't predict at the start of the season. So I think coming into this game, I just don't see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting on the same page and winning this game. It feels like Todd Bowles is criticising the playing room, which is never a good sign. There's obviously fractures in there. So this game points to a Panthers win for me, and it's an easier scenario for the South anyway. So if the Panthers win, they're in. And as you said before, that if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win, they need the Falcons to lose to then actually go into the playoffs. So interesting game to watch. But yeah, I'm cheering for a Panthers win.
Yeah, well, literally 5 months ago, we did our South week, and Isaac came out, and we had obviously our spreadsheet, and it was introduced, and then Isaac said, "Yep, we're going to put Carolina winning this division," and we all turned to him and said, "You are a Looney Tune." He went one step further. He said the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
But you've got to give it to him because right now they're in a win-in situation to win that division. And I 100% agree. 100% agree. They are losing that locker room over in Tampa Bay. Like it's like that. Even that press conference that happened a couple of weeks ago from Todd Bowles after they blew that game against Atlanta at home, you can tell it's really starting to unravel. So it might be like, and there's another divisional game we'll speak about later on where it could be a similar scenario. They don't win. It's a big problem for Todd Bowles because they've pretty much been a similar team the last sort of few years. They haven't really made a conference championship game, obviously, since Brady left. They've sort of been that team that benefited from the NFC South being a joke for the last sort of 3-4 years since New Orleans sort of dropped off and been in salary cap hell. So they've just been able to cruise along, and they've literally done the same this year. And it could actually bite them in the end. So it's going to be one of those games where you're going to see Tampa going to be able to be mentally tough enough to be able to overcome that. They've had a horrible 2 months. I think they've lost 7 of their last 8 or 9 now, which is crazy. And even the drop off from Baker, Baker in the first 2 months was an MVP candidate, and now he's just fallen off straight off a cliff. It's just going to come down to are they mentally tough enough and able to just push through, try and get that win. They're at home, so they've got all the pressure. Carolina, the new kids on the block, playing with house money. They get in, literally, it's whatever. It's a success for them, considering how bad they were, last season's. A lot of pressure on Tampa Bay this week.
Yeah, and of course, I did mention the fact that if the Bucks win this game, they need the Atlanta Falcons, who had no business winning last week at all. Talk about these other two teams in terms of the Panthers and the Bucks not wanting to win the South. The Atlanta Falcons haven't been anywhere or anything for the entire season, and then all of a sudden last week they turn up as a berserker team, win a game in resounding fashion that they should not have won at all, and now it all comes down to them. If the Bucks win against the Panthers, they have to wait to make sure and see that the Saints beat the Falcons in order for the Bucks to actually win the division and get into that playoff spot. If they don't, if the Falcons win, then despite the win over Carolina, Carolina would still take the division and be in the playoffs. And just real quickly, the Falcons, I cannot get over the Falcons, man. They just are unbelievable to me. What a shit show of a team that is, where you finally show up in week 17. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
And then you're coming up against the Saints, who are on 4 in a row streak. And this entire division looks bananas at 8-8, 7-9, 7-9, and the Saints at 6-10, which could end up at 7-10. We could end up with 3 teams at 7-10 and 1 at 9-8. It's just ridiculous.
If you had told me at the start of the season that the Saints could have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs, I would not a chance in the world.
That would have been a hell of a water bet, Isaac.
Wouldn't it? What?
We would have said, how good's Kellen Moore?
I know the division's shit, but at least it's intriguing.
The Saints themselves have been that berserker team in this division as well, because they beat both the Bucks and the Panthers in that at the start of that 4-game win streak. So it's almost they were the start of these problems for the whole division. The way this went.
The Panthers have lost to them twice.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Boys, anything else on this game? Anyone got anything to watch? Fun that they there's going to be some really weird week 18 sort of player prop bets out and about as well.
Yep.
There was a few weird ones that I found. What do you got, Cody?
Well, obviously this week is when you start to look at incentives and bonuses for certain players. So keeping an eye on certain contract stipulations, especially in regards to like receivers' yards and stuff like that. There's no names in particular, but I know there is a few across the weekend that, especially in regards to betting, just to keep an eye on. because there is a few guys that are close to that 1,000-yard mark where they get an extra 250, 500, which is quite large, as single payments. That was one of the things I was looking at over today, and just seeing if there's some early markets that were quite enticing to take, I guess. And so yeah, I think Olave is pretty close, and I'm pretty sure who was it? Nick Booker as well was to keep an eye on.
Would be one to keep an eye on for me would be a Booker and McMillan because
Yes.
they're vying for the offensive rookie of the year, I believe. I don't think there's
That too,
another
yeah.
offensive rookie of the year candidate out there now that Judkins has gone down. So whoever wins that, Booker's kind of fallen off a cliff these
Yeah,
last few
has.
weeks
I think
anyway.
Ted's
So
got it.
I think
Ted's got it locked
Ted
up.
may have it locked
Nah,
up.
it's in the other game, Isaac. Tyler Shuck's going to be offensive rookie of the year. We heard that.
He
We
has
heard
thrown
that
for a
just
bazillion
yesterday.
yards.
We heard that just yesterday. The Saints fans all believe Tyler Shuck is going to be offensive rookie of the year.
Tyler Shuck is Ian's new Baker Mayfield this year.
I love middling quarterbacks. And I reckon a black and gold jersey would look amazing. No one would be able to say the name on the back of it properly. But
If I'm putting money, if I'm putting any money down on this game, it's I'm putting Mike Evans to get 728 yards, so he
Yes.
can
They get you
so he can
1,000.
get to 1,000.
oh, the streak
Another one
is,
of Ian's boyfriends.
the streak is going to end
Gonna
this
live.
week.
It's gonna live. You
what
gotta
a-
believe.
Absolutely.
No, what a sad state of affairs when the Mike Evans streak just ends, just with a thud.
Yeah,
I was hoping it
it's-
was going to end when he retired, not the year before he retires.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Baker, if they're going to have any shot in this game, Baker's got to step it up. His balls have been uncatchable, a lot of them. He's been the bottom 3 of uncatchable balls. These
Someone's out of context.
Don't cut that. Just leave it all in as one.
Who doesn't love an uncatchable ball? So yeah,
See this.
Baker's got to just stroke that thing better than he has.
This just keeps
Bradley.
getting better.
Thanks, Brad.
You'll never beat the
worries.
allegations.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Anyway, I need the Bucks to win because they need the Bucks to win the division. So Isaac can't be right.
Come on now.
There's so much that hinges on
Okay.
week 18 for us, mate. Week 18 is a doozy for this show and our predictions. It's ridiculous.
It is. Most certainly is.
All right, let's move on to the second game that we will see on Sunday in Australia at 12 o'clock. What a great time of the day to watch the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Winner takes absolutely everything. The number 1 seed will basically go through somebody in the second round of the playoffs. If it's the 49ers, they could have home field advantage right through to the Super Bowl if they get that far. And if it's Seattle, this could be something that hasn't happened for many, many years. Let's start with Cody. How do we think the Seattle Seahawks are sort of setting up for this game, this must-win game against the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, we haven't anytime we have a division game like we had against last time I was here with the preview for against Arizona, division games are always tough. I have a lot of positives. Obviously, the way we're going, we've been putting up points. However, the way we've been starting hasn't hurt us too much against some of the teams we've played. But the way San Francisco's going, like Brock Purdy's the last 2 weeks is 10 total touchdowns in 2 weeks. Our defense is obviously, top 5 NFL, which is one thing. But anytime you get in these division games, the mistakes have to be limited more than normal, especially with the division title on the line. I know for a fact that they're not going to be mucking around, and having CMC is always a threat. Our defense has been locked in. We just need to make sure we keep that side of the ball going. Darnold, the last couple of weeks, his stats have been mediocre, to be honest. As I said, we've been putting up points, but that defense has been helping that a lot because we've had, especially Demarcus Lawrence, on that D line. It seems to be everywhere, either getting a sack or a strip sack or a fumble, something that sort of turns momentum into points or scores points himself, which has been sort of blowing out those little leads. But look, it's going to be a good game. It's really hard to pick because every time I start to go, look, we sort of have this over San Francisco. Like, we kind of don't. I feel like it is a really, really evenly matched on both sides because San Francisco's defense isn't horrible either. My main takeaway is making sure that we make the most of our possessions early, and if we have to, just keep it close into the late third, start of the fourth, because that's when San Francisco tends to just turn it on. So, look, I'm looking forward to a really good game. Obviously, I hate San Francisco. And that goes all the way back to the Kaepernick era. So, and his funky little throws. Yeah, look, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I am nervous though because obviously I want us playing at home would be massive and not having to go through San Francisco because they're at home. They're just as good. So, look, it's really hard to pick a side. Obviously, I'm going to Seattle. Let's not get too crazy. But it's really hard to find default both in a way that I could consider sort of being a major issue or a leaning point towards one side.
Nick, the opposition to that. How are we feeling about the 49ers and the potential, not just the potential 1 seed, but the potential for home field advantage right through to a Super Bowl?
Ian, 6 years ago, these exact same stakes were on the line. This time around, it was up in Seattle. And I remember it very clearly. It was a Sunday night game. Jacob Hollister goes through on a stick route. Russell Wilson throws him the ball, and Dre Greenlaw gets him right at the line. And the division and the NFC was decided by that much. And let me tell you, when that happened, and I went through the replays, saw the replays, let me tell you about the years of trauma that this team has caused me. We just talked about the days of Colin Kaepernick. I remember vividly numerous times, playoff games, other sort of games, Richard Sherman or Michael Crabtree. I'd just like to preface that Richard Sherman prefers us now as opposed to them. That's pretty embarrassing. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Anyway, after all of that, I remember just staying there and then I was saying, it's literally inches. I'm yelling at the screen, yes, Seattle science does matter, look at that. And we took the NFC by that much. It was a glorious day and I hope to relive it again. But it's a different team. It's a very different team. Unfortunately, we are nowhere near as good as what that defense was 6 years ago. Unfortunately, that is, due to the two best players being out. Robert Sala's still there. I mean, he's been and gone, but now he's back. The last 3 weeks defensively have been absolutely shocking. We had a 67-year-old almost put up 27 on us in Phillip Rivers. Cam Ward, okay, yes, he's been quite solid the last few weeks. He was able to put up points. And obviously the boat race last week, which nearly put me out entirely in terms of stress on the max. But offensively, no complaints at all. Even with Williams going down, when Trent Williams went down, he only played the 1 snap on the pick 6 and he was out for the rest of the game. That was warning signs. Now, Chicago's pass rush isn't the greatest in the world, but it was massive warning signs early. But thankfully, Pleasance came in. He actually stepped up. He wasn't too bad, apart from one sort of dip and rip move. He was pretty good the rest of the game. Fortunately, this week, Seattle's front is levels above of what that Chicago one is. Their defense is levels above what we've sort of played. I mean, the closest thing you can maybe come to it that we've played since Purdy's come back is maybe Cleveland, only because, offensively they're no good, but defensively you can maybe make that case.
Yep.
Purdy, I'm going back to obviously comparing the first game earlier this year. It was pretty much a pick 'em game, really. Kittle was pretty hot early. He went out, and then Tonjans had the snatched touchdown catch in the end, which got us over the line, which pretty much puts us in this position to be able to have the opportunity to be the 1 seed. Obviously, back then we had Bosa and Warner. I'm really worried that this game could be a bit of a boat race as well. I know Darnold hasn't quite been as good the last sort of few weeks. I'm hoping like last season he lays the egg, like the last game of the regular season he did with Minnesota.
That's what I'm worried about.
But yeah, I just more so defense because I know if you can put pressure on Sam Darnold, you may be able to force him into some weird throws. You can force some turnovers, everything like that. We haven't been a good team with turning the ball over this year. We don't get a lot of pressure, obviously, since we've had guys being injured. So our players have played out of control, and that's why I think we've actually been able to put ourselves in position. Obviously, McCaffrey's been insane the whole season, and he's leading the league in touches and total yards. I think he's second at the moment in total touchdowns as well. So we're using him a bunch, and obviously, we've had to with pretty much no receivers throughout the whole year. Now we've got Jennings sort of coming back. I mean, IU's pretty much off the roster at this stage. But credit to Purdy, like he's been like I've been sort of a little bit skeptical about what he can do, but he's really stepped up. He has really stepped up the last sort of few weeks. The mental toughness of throwing a pick six in literally the first play and then coming back. The swagger, the confidence to be able to go through and then score 5 touchdowns again. So yeah, very nervous. It can go either way. Can absolutely go either way. Seattle have been more consistent over this season, 100%. But for us, it's just literally been like, I can't even believe we're in this position. Hindsight, we would have loved to go back to week 8 and say, yeah, let's go and get Trey Hendrickson or, let's go get another linebacker or something that would make us a lot better in terms of competition. Yeah, it's just one of those games could be like it was 6 years ago where it's literally going to come down to that much. Hopefully it's us again.
The real quick, because I know we want to get off this game, but I'm curious to see how the 49ers are going to defend JSN because he torched them that first game this season. So that I think is going to be a key because Seattle relies so much on the explosive plays. But I think Darnold, he gets so much flack for getting rattled with pressure in the big games, but you got to remember that was the Rams defense getting after him. And this time, the 49ers aren't nearly as good, their defensive line, to get after him. So it's still going to be, I think, touch and go. But I'm just Seattle's just playing so good, and I feel like everything broke right for the 49ers last time that Seattle's due to get it. And so much is riding on this game. It's awesome. It's going to be so much fun to watch.
So you're picking Seattle, Brad?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to tip Seattle as well as a neutral in this game, hating both of them just as equally.
Yeah, good one.
I'm going to go Seattle because of their defense. I think their defense is the best unit in this game.
Yep.
And although I think Kyle Shanahan should win Coach of the Year with the amount of injuries he's had
Absolutely.
and with the amount of ways he's schemed it up.
No.
Don't say no to me again, Ian. We know what happened last time.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle here because, just their defense is the best unit. And, just a slight edge, though. I think it could be another game of the year for the 40.
Well, the other reason I think you really want the Seattle Seahawks to win is because if the Seahawks win, then your Rams, assuming that they can actually beat the Cardinals,
we can't assume anything.
They can beat the Cardinals at this point, but that means that they would go up against either the Bucks or the Panthers in the first round of the playoffs. Versus if the 49ers were to win, the Rams will take on either the Bears or the Eagles.
I screw over the Rams as well with this win. Fuck, come on. That's even better.
I did not have ulterior motives, Ian.
So, and that's how bad it is for both San Francisco and the Seahawks as well. So if the 49ers win, the Seahawks are going to be locked into the 5th seed, so they'll take on their 4th, which will be either the Panthers or the Bucks. But if the Seahawks win, then the 49ers are going to be either the 5th or the 6th seed, so they will take on either, as the 6th seed, they will take on either the Bears or the Eagles. Or if the Cardinals do the unthinkable and beat the Rams, then they would take on the 4th seed, which is the Bucks Panthers
Kobe
combinations.
Brissett masterclass.
This game's
Yeah.
going to be awesome. This
Yeah,
weekend
So
is
this
going to be
can't
this,
wait.
this matters so much, not just for that one seed. It's
Yeah,
where
it's
you
crazy.
land after it,
Yeah.
because
Correct.
you don't want to take on Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson right now.
I don't want to do that
Um,
again. No.
I'd rather
no.
face
I'm
them than
still
the
recovering,
Eagles.
man.
Yeah, I would rather face them than the Eagles as well. So
Yeah.
you're almost hoping that if you lose, you're going to be eyes wide open on
Yep.
that Lions Bears game, going, God damn it, Lions beat them.
Dan Campbell do us a solid.
Yeah, so because I just don't know about taking on the Eagles, or just totally wishing that the Cardinals win, the Commanders maybe win. So
Honestly, from
it's insane.
I know that Cody, if you guys don't win on Sunday, like you'll play the NFC South, so it won't sort of phase you. But
Yep.
Isaac, more so with that 6th seed, would you rather be playing Chicago or Philly?
Chicago. Easy.
Yeah, I think
Hun-
Rams Chicago would be.
There's a lot that. Sorry to go off on a tangent. We're not even speaking about that game, but there's a lot of rookies in that Bears team, Monangai and Loveland, that they rely on heavily, that haven't been to the playoffs, that haven't been in a playoff atmosphere. Caleb as well. So I would personally much rather face the Bears.
Yeah, I think it's because the Rams defense is far stronger than the 49ers or the Bears. It'll be much different to last week. All right, let's move on to the Monday games. We're going to start with a couple that all sort of matter for the same division, and it's the AFC South. Let's start with Titans at Jags. Now, of course, we're not talking about the Titans. We're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Isaac wants to.
I know Isaac wants to, so I'm going to set Isaac up here because Isaac really wants to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, he's going to talk about Cam Ward and the Titans. This is a very important game for the Jags. They can't falter at all to the Titans, who have weirdly been playing offense, and they've got a really reasonable defense. So they've figured out how to click. But this depends a lot for the Jags on winning that division.
Yeah, so my major one in this one is Trevor Lawrence. I personally think he's probably been a top 5 quarterback this season in the NFL. He has
at least
played,
the second half of the season. Yeah,
he has played phenomenal. I really like what the Jags are building. And Cohen, I think the stats has come out being the first coach to win 12 games in his first season as a head coach.
Actual coach of the year.
Okay, yep, fair enough. So yeah, I don't think the Jags slip up here. I think they win this game, and I think they win it convincingly in the first half, and then they pull their starters.
Yeah, wow. Well, they kind of need to, because it really does depend on the second game, which is the Texans. They need to stay ahead of the Texans because the Texans are coming home hard and they are coming strong. So the Jags, I think they've been playing really well. I think they have been playing really well. I really think Liam Cohen has turned this team around massively, not just the offensive side of the ball where he changed a lot of what Trevor Lawrence does, but defensively he has had a massive impact on that side of the ball as well. Being such a great offensive mind, it means that your defensive coach can come to you and say, this is what we're coming up against, for this team. What do you think? How would you defeat this? And you can make that team better as a whole. And I think Liam Cole and Mike Vrabel, for me, are the coach of the year candidates. They're ahead of Mike Shanahan. That's the reason that I've said that there. And it's because both of these guys took genuine 4-win basket case teams from 2024 and have turned them into currently 13-win teams. Yeah, 13 plus, because the Patriots are likely to be 14-win team. They've turned the entire franchise around, whereas the 49ers and Shanahan, he basically took an injured team that got healthier and then they got better. Like, it's not like he turned a lot of that around. Guys just got healthy and they played like they should be playing because they should have been there. And if they were healthy from the start of the season, the 49ers wouldn't be in this situation where what we just talked about. So, anyway, that's just me personally. But yes, I think Jags definitely over the Titans. I think they're much better on defense. I don't think that the Titans are going to get to play the same kind of offense that they've been allowed to play the last couple of weeks. And I don't think their defense is strong enough to contain what Jacksonville have been putting up offensively either. So, Brad, what do you reckon about this one?
I think the Jags got so much on the line here that they're gonna play all out. Titans, you like the Cinderella kind of spoiler story, and hats off to Cam Ward. I think they've got a legitimate quarterback there. He's the first rookie in Titans history to have over 3,000 passing yards. So, and what I've liked about him is you've seen him develop as the season has progressed. But I just think the Jaguars, their defense is too stingy. They're so good at creating turnovers. I would not surprise me if they get out to a significant lead. And then I don't think halftime they'll pull it back, but I would say maybe fourth quarter they might give the guys a break, depending on the situation. I can't see Tennessee pulling this out when Jacksonville has so much on the line for this game.
Let's talk about that second game, and it is Colts at Texans. That matters to this division massively. So these two games are huge for this division right now for the Jags and for the Texans. The Colts have already said that they're starting Riley Leonard. Old man Rivers has gone back off into retirement wilderness.
For now.
He's got his 5 years of medical for his family, for his insane family. So that's all done and dusted. He's all paid up. It's going to be 5 more years before Philip Rivers has to figure out about paying for medical for any of his family ever. And most of them will probably be over the age of 18 by that point, so they won't have to worry about it. So they're already starting that. The Texans, as we've been talking about, they are one hell of a force in this second part of the season. They are on an 8-game winning streak, Nick, largely because of their defense. And you would have to believe that they're going to take care of the Colts here as well.
Yeah, definitely. I do think they'll take care of the Colts. I mean, it's probably a game where they'll get to about half time because you assume that someone's probably keeping tabs of the other game in the division. Like, they'll probably end up pulling starters like Jacksonville will once they've gotten up and ahead and, the game's taken care of. Look, in terms of how they've been playing, I don't know how you guys feel, but I actually think out of all the teams in the AFC, I think Houston's the most dangerous. And I think not just because their defense, I feel, is the best in the conference going into the playoffs, but out of all the quarterbacks and out of all the teams that you've got. So you can go through it. So like Bo Nix has played one game, they got smashed. Denver got smashed last year against Buffalo. The Patriots are very fresh. Never played playoffs. Mike Vrabel's obviously coached in the playoffs before. Hasn't had a lot of success, but he's at least been there. Drake May, we don't 100% know how he'll rock up. Jacksonville's only had the sort of couple of games. They had that massive comeback against the Chargers. So they've sort of been there. Liam Cohen has only really been there as an offensive coordinator with the Bucs. You've got either the Steelers or the Ravens. The Ravens is maybe the other case if Lamar can sort of click it into gear. The Steelers, you sort of don't know what you can get. They haven't won a playoff game in 10 years. What are you really going to get out of them? You got the Chargers. Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game before, and he was pretty bad against the Texans last year. And then you got the Bills. So you got the Bills, who obviously Josh Allen's probably the best remaining quarterback left overall, like in both sort of sides of the bracket. But their defense hasn't been that good. They were good last week. Are they going to be good enough to still be able to stop the runs, be able to stop the pass in, at least the conference? Then you've got sort of the Texans. So you've got that really good defense, which can stop the run, stop the pass, they can get to the passer, they can really stifle you, and they don't give up points. They don't give up, they get off the field on third down on defense. But offensively, like, CJ Stroud had struggled a little bit last year, and I remember coming into the Houston Chargers sort of wild card round, and we all sort of came. I think most of us did pick the Chargers to win, and then once we sort of watched that game, it was like Houston had just absolutely destroyed them, and it was a bit like the season before where Stroud came in, he stepped up. He didn't have a great year. He stepped up in that game, and got them across the line and won well. And then they almost could have done the same the following week in Kansas City. So, like CJ Stroud, apart from Josh Allen, I would say is probably the one in sort of recent years who his playoff performances haven't actually been the worst. Like he's probably been the second best out of all the quarterbacks that are left in the AFC. So that's why I feel like they're probably the most dangerous team. They'll definitely roll over the Colts this week. It'll probably be a low scoring game. They won't need to score many. I mean, 3 touchdowns will definitely be enough for them to win this game. And they'll be able to put the Q in the rack. But I think going forward, like even as the 5 seed, there's definitely a big chance, I think, in the AFC this year.
I mean, I know you're a professional, but if I'm Riley Leonard going against that Houston defense, I'm scared, man. That thing, they are going to be out for blood. It could get ugly.
Cody, if you're the Texans, who do you want to face in the first round of the playoffs? Do you want to win and face the Steelers, or do you want to lose and face the Jags?
I want to verse Steelers.
Yeah.
Because the Jags, they just, especially especially with Trevor Lawrence as well, but they've been so consistent all round. Then you look at the Steelers last week, they couldn't beat the Browns when technically all they had to do was win, and they were golden.
They're in.
You know, and now they've left it up to obviously this week as well, which they need to win this one. But Aaron Rodgers, it looks like he just forgot how to throw to anyone at any point, any down. Obviously, there's gonna be games like that, but the Steelers don't feel threatening in any way. Whereas the Jags, ETN could run off for, at any given time, a 40-yard run at any point. They don't have that with the Steelers. And if you're depending on Aaron Rodgers and his arm to win a game,
yep.
It's not just, it's not A-Rod from 10, 12 years ago. It's, and back-to-back MVP. It's 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers who, one hit and the brother could be out. So and the defense honestly does not look like the normal Steelers defense either. It's still, it's not awful, but if I'm having to choose between the red hot Jags or the Steelers, I'm taking the Steelers every day.
All right, let's get into that final game, because all 3 of these games matter for those final seeds in the AFC right now, and that's the same games we're talking about everywhere for wildcard weekend. So that final game that we're going to talk about today is Ravens at Steelers, a full-on Sunday night football win and in game. Whoever wins takes that division and is in as the 4th seed in the playoffs. Whoever loses, out she goes. No more. We are talking a Ravens team that absolutely rode Derrick Henry to a 36 carry, 200-yard game last week versus a Steelers team that could barely get it done against the Browns. Looked like they focused their entire offensive plan around stopping Myles Garrett just getting the sack record, and basically sacrificed a loss just so that didn't happen against Aaron Rodgers. And a Steelers team that is without DK Metcalf, so their number 1 receiver is gone again for this week because he's a bonehead. And
yep,
we can't really know what they're going to be able to dial up with, 80-year-old Adam Thielen and 70-year-old MVS right now. So, Brad, you're close enough to these dumb franchises, but having a brother, and shout out Big Lance, because if your team played better and made better decisions, we wouldn't be talking about them like this.
True.
What do you think, Ravens, Steelers? Do you think we're just going to see the Ravens finally do the same thing back-to-back weeks?
And just commit to the run and run.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be logical, though no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that conclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Just cut that, Isaac.
First off, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, how pissed are you that DeKalen Zacharias Metcalf is going to potentially cost you the game, your final game of your career. We'll see if
A
he comes
playoff
back.
berth, your final playoff berth of your career.
Yeah, right. A playoff berth, and you go out like this because you're such an idiot. You get pissed off because somebody calls you your full name. So it's just, it's just ludicrous. Pittsburgh has other issues. I mean, they need to have a number 2 wide receiver, and they don't. I'm sorry, but as much as you like Thielen, he doesn't have that much gas left in the tank. And Baltimore, I hope they can commit to the run and just say, okay, Derek, we're gonna ride you like they should have all season, or in the playoffs time, because that's how they're going to win this game. That's how they're going to make any noise, is to ride the big D, and who knows if they can do that.
He got there in the end.
What a
interesting
fantastic
game.
episode.
We talked about it on the reaction show. John Harbaugh should have been doing this 3 or 4 weeks ago, giving Derrick Henry the rock and just run over people. Like, that is a formula for you winning, even with Lamar Jackson back. If Lamar's still only 70%, you had the winning formula there from last week.
You've got to help out Lamar Jackson.
Give it to Derrick Henry. That's right. So yeah,
they should have done it against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They should have done it against the Steelers last time out, which they didn't. They should have done it against the Bengals. You win a couple of those games, and all of a sudden you were already the 4th seed.
That's right. So I've personally got the Ravens winning this one because of what the Steelers threw up last week. I just can't see them. And without DK Metcalf, I know we say it costs Aaron Rodgers, but apparently it would have cost him $40 million as well himself. So we'll see.
No, they declined that. The Steelers.
Yeah, so they're still going to pay him.
They're still going to pay him. They declined to take that off him.
Yeah. So, I don't even know if it's going to be overly interesting or competitive. I really think Baltimore's going to figure it out, and they're just going to run all over him.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a good game to watch, and you'll see the desperation from both teams really, because you look at Harbaugh and then even Tomlin. Either one of those guys loses this game, it's massive, massive troubles. I mean, even for Aaron Rodgers, like, how does it look on him? He was calling out some guys, weeks ago, saying, is he one of the outcasts? And he said, yeah, I'm playing with a bunch of outcasts. And, how do they turn around and say, well, what happens if you win less games than Justin Fields and Russell Wilson did last year? So how does that look on him? And how does it look on Mike Tomlin that you couldn't get this team over the line? Baltimore's in shambles because Lamar's been in and out, hasn't been training as much. Defense has been shocking most of the year. Cincinnati still can't keep Joe Burrow upright, which is, shot them in the foot again. And Cleveland is Cleveland. So they haven't been able to take advantage of that opportunity. And on the other side, you've got Harbaugh, who's just been at it time and time again, trying to get that team over the line, trying to get things in place. He's had the thing with Derrick Henry now. He hasn't, the last 2 years, he hasn't had his defense ready to play from the start of the year. He doesn't figure it out till sort of late, which has handicapped them in their last sort of couple of years. If that's a loss this week against a Steelers team with Rodgers, who isn't the same guy, without Metcalf, without a great run game, and they don't have many receivers, their O-line's not that great. It's like, well, what are we doing? And Lamar's probably missed about maybe 4 games this year, so it's not a whole lot of games. And you can't even pin it on Lamar this year, because even when he's come back, they've still lost some games, and they've given up a lot of points in a lot of games as well. So it's really tough to see which way this goes. I really want to go Baltimore, even if Tyler Huntley actually plays, because last week he was actually all right. He didn't turn the ball over, didn't do any of that, so he just kept onto the ball. They gave it to obviously Derrick Henry a lot of the time, which seems to work. So he should do it more. But Mike Tomlin, man, as underdogs in divisional games, this is his forte. Out of everything, almost as much as what it would be with him having a winning record every year, Steelers plus 3.5. And every time you look at that, when they're the underdogs in the divisional game. He loves this spot. I don't know what it is, but the Steelers love this spot. So it's going to be a great game to watch. Even if it is a bit of a shit fest both ways, it's still going to be competitive. It's a rivalry, massive rivalry, historic rivalry. So, and it's winner take all, quite literally.
So I'll pose this question to Cody, kind of like the same way you did with the Jags there.
Yeah.
And who would you want to face if you're if you're Houston, if you get to face, say, Derrick Henry and the Ravens, who have just come off Derrick Henry with 30 plus carries each and over 150 yards the last 2 games?
Yep.
Or you want to face the Jags? Who are you looking at?
See, as scary as Derrick Henry is, their play calling and their offense has proven that once they have something that goes consistently well, they're like, nah, let's change it.
Yeah.
Because it's working too well. Something's got to break at some point.
Yeah.
Let's get ahead of the curve. And then they don't do that. And then, even the last game last week, kept getting, and then they took it away from Derrick. Like, he didn't get a run, I think it was in the fourth for ages.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you got something that's working, because it's really, you've seen it, it's so hard to bring him down. Doesn't matter the yardage, if you could run him almost on, 3rd and 20 and he'll pick up a first down. Like, there's just no way of taking him down. And for some reason, they tend to just almost go, they're going to think we're going to run it. So let's pass it. And Lamar's passing this year. It's due to the injuries, and he's been off since like week 3 with different injuries. And he's just been out of whack, especially with his toe, because I feel like that's impacted his running, which has impacted his whole way of playing, because he has that. It's deceptive, because he drops back. He can pass. He's improved as a passer a lot, but the threat to run means that you can't load the box. If you load the box, you got receivers downfield. He's proven that he can throw it downfield. That hasn't been there this year, but they still seem to keep trying to force that. Look at Huntley last week. All the handoffs. If you just game manage with the quarterback, just take it easy, and you give it to Derrick, he'll tear you apart. So that scares me. The Jags, however, it's weird because I haven't seen them in this spot for a while. They've always shown flashes of this happening. They've never been able to put it together. It's hard. It's really hard to pick on experience. Obviously, you have, Collins, he's been there 1 year now, and he's turned it around. Then Harbaugh's experience, especially in these big games, is insane. We can go back to even division, so many years ago when it was always Steelers-Ravens. I felt like every year it was for the division, it was Steelers-Ravens. You would get to, week 18. Oh, sorry, back then, week, 17. And it was, if for some reason, he just get Big Ben to just turn someone on, flip, for the Ravens with Flacco and stuff. They just always seem to manage to get through. To be honest, I probably prefer to play the Ravens just off of recent.
Yep.
They're just not consistent enough, especially in these big games to get through. So that would be my pick, definitely.
All right, so quickly running through the NFC and AFC wildcard round seeds, how things will play out as we have sort of presupposed here in the way I assume you boys are tipping, and the way I know I definitely am. I'm in agreement with the majority of what you guys are saying. So let's go with the NFC first. Our only question, essentially, is around the number 1 seed, so the Seattle and 49ers game. As the majority of us here said, Seattle would put Seattle as the 1 seed. It would put Chicago. We would see in the wildcard game. We would see 2v7 the Bears welcoming the Packers. So Packers at Bears. We would see 49ers at Philadelphia, and we would see the Rams at Tampa. And in the AFC, we would have Denver as the 1 seed, and we would have Chargers at Patriots, Buffalo at Jacksonville, and Texans at Ravens.
Jeez, what a playoffs! Imagine if that happens.
Crazy.
What crackers?
Yeah.
I think you said
it's interesting.
You said last week, Isaac, that this could be, or one of you guys said last week on the pod, this could be one of those years where all of the away teams, get up. It's not necessarily a divisional winners would get up. Was that you, Nick, or was it Isaac? I Can't remember.
No, I wasn't on last week. I was slapped down.
Might have
I
been
was,
me.
I was sad.
Might have been Nick.
Yeah.
But it could have been. This could be one of those years where all of the away teams, the lowest seeds, are the ones that get through to divisional round.
Well, that would be like it's there's potential, which makes it great. Like how good.
Or we
Wow.
could
There's
Yeah.
your multi.
we could definitely have more of
Imagine
them.
how much
Yeah, the multi for
names.
this week is out the window, Brad. I don't even try and multi for this week.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I
that's
could
too
put all
hard.
the favourites in. We'd probably end up with about a $10 multi, I think.
Yeah.
But I think wild card round, there's going to be some wild betting going on. That's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's where we'd be at. Great previews, boys. Well done to all of you. There's some tough games to preview because some of it seems meaningless when we're talking about it, but it's meaningful for other teams. So there's a lot of fun stuff in all of that for Week 18 previews. And I think we've done well, guys. Thanks, Cody, for joining us again, mate.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I enjoy it. It's awesome. Thank you very much.
It's been awesome, mate. Hopefully the Seahawks get through. We might have to talk to you again.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah, it'd be great. Be good.
you're okay, Nick. Don't worry. You'll be right.
We'll see. I'm just too many years of having 49ers fans on this podcast.
It's the
The
awful.
term you should be saying, Ian, is blessed. Okay? Blessed.
Blessed.
No.
Even though
Definitely
me and
prefer to the
Manjo come at
Packers
it
fan,
from
that's
very
for
different
sure.
angles, but still.
Well,
Yes.
because you make sense. Sorry.
The-
I hope
the
Manjo's
the
listening to
reverse
that. Did
jinx
you
is-
hear that, Manjo, from Brad?
The reverse jinxes in the group chat are going to be wild this week.
He
I'll
loves
tell you
them.
right now.
Can't
He
wait.
loves them.
Oh, we've
Mind
already
you-
lost.
He said
First quarter.
that in one of ours, like one of our 49ers ones after the train went down. Brother, it's first play. Come on, man. You got
Yeah,
through.
right. Exactly.
I was stressing about it. I wasn't that calm at the end, but anyway.
Anyway, all right. Thanks very much for listening. You'll find us at G'day Gridiron everywhere on all the socials and on YouTube. Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network for a link to all the important links and all the stuff that you need for the AGN network. ESPN tipping comp, the Aussie Gridiron Network, ESPN tipping comp is going to be going off. This is a tough week to pick. It's going to be very, very close. At the end of this, when we get to reaction show on the other side of the weekend, we will be crowning a winner, and we might be releasing another tippy comp for the playoffs, maybe with another prize. We'll see what I can set up, but make sure you tune in for the reaction show on the other side of the weekend, post Week 18, and all of these massive, massive games. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the other side of the week. Cheers.
Go Ducks.